How y'all doing this morning? This morning I'm going to get started on that ultimate Cajun recipe, that Crawfish Bisque. Remember I said Louisiana Crawfish Company? I got the products from them. This is 5 pounds boiled crawfish right here, IQFs. Since it's not really crawfish season right now, it's mid-November, this is the best way to do it because you got to get those crawfish heads to put the stuffing in. But this bag, this is 5 pounds. This is the perfect amount of what you need. Let me tell you what all this is going to bring me. It's going to bring me the crawfish heads that I need, also the shells to make the stock, and also a little bit more tail meat. Some for snacking, maybe a little for the recipe. Anyway, these have been frozen. What you got to do is thaw and heat these. They suggest you can do it in boiling water or something like that. And that's fine. I really didn't have that big of a pot. Well, I do got those huge pots outside. I ended up firing one of those up. Just a little bit of crawfish. I'm going to use my steamer and I'll show you how I'm going to do that here. But if you did have a big pot, they say you could boil them right in this bag and use it, strain and everything like that. But like I said, I don't have that big of a pot inside. Put these crawfish in my steamer here, and like I said, I'll just steam them enough just to get them thawed out, get them a little bit warm. I think my first batch just finished steaming. Now, as far as how long do they steam, it really depends. I think once your steamer really gets to steaming, it only takes about 5 minutes. Of course, mine had to heat up for a while and all that stuff. So let's go ahead and dump this batch here. Make sure everything's pretty hot there. I know the bottom ones, these may have a little bit more to go. I still see a little bit of ice on them. So I'm going to let these steam about another 5 minutes. So I believe this batch is done. It's been about another 5 minutes. And I'm going to go ahead and dump these over here into the colander I got in the sink. Alright, got everything set up just like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this back on here. We'll put the next batch of crawfish in there. Come on, boys. And frozen. Let me get these out the bag real quick. Get them in there. Got that first batch done. I put it down the sink, and there's the next ones in the steamer there. I tell you, my goal with this really, y'all, is to get this done these steps here with at least a little bit of mess as possible. So that's why I'm using the steamer right here by the sink. I think this will be the best way to heat these up. While we have those, sitting there steaming, I'm gonna go ahead and start cleaning the heads and crawfish and stuff. All right, here's what we got. We got the ready crawfish right down there in the colander. I got this little glass thing in the sink to catch the stuff out of the heads that we'll throw away. This pot here for the shells, we'll make the stock out of that. And here's a bowl with some salty ice water in it, and that's where we'll put the heads once we get the heads cleaned out. All right, so we just got this little station set up here. We've got a small little bowl to put some tail meat in. What we can get out of these. Okay, so first what we're going to do, we're going to take the crawfish here. I'm going to twist the tail off, like that. And let the little juice fall in there and get the shells and put them in the pot. Then we'll take the tail. We really need a little bit of water here. We'll rinse that, kind of that fat and stuff off. I mean, that's good, but if you're using them right here directly, but I like to kind of rinse that off. And then we'll put the tail meat right here in the side bowl. Then we're going to take your index finger here with the crawfish head, all right? And you're just going to pull all that thorax, all that legs and stuff like that out of there, okay? I know it's not pretty, but we got to do it. Pull all that junk out of there. Get anything out of there, and what you want to see is a clean crawfish head, just like that. That's what we use for this stuffing. So this goes over there in the salty ice water. And we're just going to repeat that step for the rest of the crawfish. Also, here's what we got after that 5 pounds of crawfish. I got the shells, not including the heads, right here in this pot reserve. I got a little bit of meat over there out of them. And here's the heads. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these heads out and dry them and put the shells in a little Ziploc bag, and then we'll get on making the stock. Heads here, what I'm doing, see, I've got them all here in a Pyrex on a paper towel, just letting them dry. And I may stick them in the freezer for a little bit, throughout the day here today. That way they don't, nothing happens to them and they don't get in a bad temperature zone or anything like that. So I'll layer this with paper towel just like this. I'll put another layer of the heads on there, and we'll stick this in the freezer just to sit for the day while we do everything else. So we can start our crawfish stock. I got all those shells in there. Remember, without the heads and stuff, just the tail shell and the claws and stuff like that. And I got 3 quarts of water in here. We'll turn this up to high and just get it to barely where it's almost to a boil. Then we'll turn it down and let it simmer for about 45 minutes. So we've reached a boil now. Now we want to turn this on down to low. We'll set our timer for 45 minutes. And we're just going to let it simmer on a lower heat. Not all the way to low, but just barely bubble. And that's going to bring all that good flavor and everything out of those crawfish shells. I want to tell you one thing about this process here. When you're making a seafood stock or something, it tells you a lot about the seafood that you've actually purchased, especially when you're dealing with stuff that's IQF or pre-cooked or, you know, frozen, uncooked. If you're making a stock and something like this and you smell a smell like ammonia or something like that, that tells you that that seafood wasn't at the best quality when it was frozen. Or, you know, sat too long, or, you know, it just started to turn. You shouldn't smell that strong ammonia smell, and you will smell it sometimes, especially when you get some of these not from USA shrimp, stuff like that, stuff from foreign countries and all that, that maybe didn't have the regulations that we have over here. That's why it's so important to order from someone that you trust, like Louisiana Crawfish Company, certified Cajun products, because I'm sitting here right above this pot and I'm not smelling any ammonia products or no real off-smelling, you know, fishy smells or nothing like that, and that's good. That's what you want. Y'all know that our crawfish stock has been simmering for about 45 minutes. Actually, it took a little bit longer, almost 50 minutes or so. I'm going to go ahead and strain this off. I'll strain it here in the sink over this bowl here. What we'll do is we'll just pour this right here in this strainer. Get all that wonderful broth there without the shell and juice and stuff. I'm going to keep on doing this. This should be it. You got all the good crawfish juice, the broth and everything. Keep the shells out of there. You don't have to get every last little bit. I always put a little bit more water in there than you need. We'll throw these shells away. I'll set that broth up and let it start to cool. What you want to do with this stock, we're going to let it cool just a little bit here on the countertop. Then we're going to move it to the refrigerator because you need it cold for when you're using it later. All right, y'all, now we're going to make the stuffing for the heads. It's the real important part. First thing, you need some real Louisiana crawfish tails here. These are the ones that we got from Louisiana Crawfish Company. I got about 2 pounds of these I'm going to put in here. So I'm going to put the 2 pounds of these crawfish tails, frozen crawfish tails that I've kind of thawed out here, in the food processor. I was able to get about half of that in here. I'm going to go ahead and just give that a spin just for a second. Just kind of pulse that here. Alright, I'm going to take that out of here and we'll just pour that in this mixing bowl here. And we'll first round the crawfish here that we kind of minced up. I think I'll put the vegetables in there first for this next batch. So what we have as far as vegetables, I've got some chopped up celery, bell pepper, and onions. I've got about 1.5 cup of onions, 1 cup of celery, and 1/2 cup of bell pepper, you know, mixed right here. I don't know if y'all can see or not, hopefully so. All right, we just got all that kind of evenly mixed here. I'm gonna add some of that in here to the food processor first this time. Maybe that'll give us a little more liquid to go with. And put some of that mix in there. And let's just, I've also got some parsley. This is some dried parsley, about 1/4 cup. I'm gonna add about half of that. Do good there. Go ahead and put this back on. Get the pulse. See, that does a lot better there. Starting with your vegetables first. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Okay, that makes like a good little salsa or something. Now I'm going to put some of this crawfish back in there that didn't grind all the way the first time. Put that in there. Some more here that I hadn't ground yet. Okay, go like that. We'll put some seasoning in there. I got some of this Beazell, my favorite Cajun seasoning here. Put about a teaspoon of that into this little batch here. That'll get us some more seasoning. And then we'll go ahead and give it a quick grind again. And so we'll just kind of get everything pulsed up here, making a good dough out of it. You don't want to get it too just macerated in there. So you can tell everything's just kind of ground up, mixed together. That's what we're looking for. I'll dump this back here in a bowl, mixed in with those crawfish. back over with another batch. Got the vegetables in there first and the parsley. With the seasoning here. About a teaspoon or so of the Beazell's. This stuff is great seasoned. Doesn't have too much salt in it or anything like that. I'm gonna go ahead and get a grind on it. That kind of ground into a slurry there. We'll add the rest of the crawfish, grind those on in just like we did last time. So now we've got our crawfish vegetable mixture right here in this bowl. I want to come in with some green onions, just about a cup of green onions or so, and put those in there. That's going to be really good. Then we're going to come in with 3 well-beaten eggs, right? And pour that in there. Then I've got some breadcrumbs. I use Italian-style breadcrumbs. You can just crush up some crackers if you want to. This is about 2 cups breadcrumbs. I'm going to add about half of that right now. So, and the only way to really get in here and do this, you're just going to have to kind of mix this by hand a little bit and just get it until it's kind of like a dough. Let me go ahead and mix this because I won't be able to turn the camera off. Mixed in the first half, it didn't get quite as thick as we wanted, so I'm going to go ahead and put in the other cup of breadcrumbs. Just want to be sure and mix these in. Just fold that in. All right, y'all, now we've got this to the right consistency. We just want it to be kind of like a dough that we can mold and put inside these crawfish heads. All right, I've got a nice cookie sheet over here with some tinfoil on it, well greased. Then we're going to take these crawfish heads from earlier. Remember those that we had cleaned out? Actually set them in the freezer for a while. I'll let them thaw out. We'll take those here and we're going to stuff them. What you want to do, we'll start out with a little ball of dough. Something like this here. Just enough to get inside one of the heads. So you take it here, you're going to see really good, and just stuff that dough ball down in that cavity. Right, and that's what you're going to make. It's going to be that stuffed head, and that's going to look really nice. All that good stuff around there. You can pat, it can come out just a little bit, just pat around the outside. Make it look kind of nice there. And we'll stuff each one of those. Then once you're done stuffing, you'll set them over here, dough side up on the greased cookie tray. Now I tell y'all, when I was a little kid, my grandma used to make this dish. It's my favorite thing she ever made. But she only made it once a year because it's so labor intensive. You see, you got to stuff all these little heads and clean them all out and everything. But that crawfish bisque, I'll never forget, eating that crawfish bisque at her table. She even had a special platter she served it all on. But to me, this is the apex, the #1 top Cajun dish there is out there. Is a real crawfish bisque like this with the stuffed heads. It don't get much better than this, y'all. It really don't. Now that I got all these heads stuffed over here like this, I'm going to put these into the oven and bake these for about 20-25 minutes and let them brown up. I do have some more stuffing left. And what we'll do with that, we'll make that in little balls. We'll do that next batch. Now, with the excess stuffing we had left over, see, I just rolled in little balls about the size of meatballs, put them on a greased tray here, and we'll bake them off too. If you want to do this recipe without the heads, it just won't look as pretty, but you can do it just like these and just make these little balls. A lot of people do it that way as well, but that's what we did with the excess we had. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these heads out and give them a check. They've been there about 22 minutes or so. Oh yes, look at them, how nice and golden brown they are. Beautiful, beautiful. Might let them go about 1 more minute, but I mean, I think these are fine. Just go ahead and take my look at that. That is gorgeous. Now I'm going to put those balls in, those little, crawfish balls we made. I'm going to put the crawfish balls in. These I let go about 25 and we'll check them. Now I got the little dumplings out. Man, these little things look wonderful. Test them for doneness. So yeah, done the inside. So we'll set these aside as well and get started on that sauce, y'all. Oh, we're getting ready to make the sauce part of this wonderful crawfish bisque, y'all. I'm so excited about making this still. What we're going to do, we're going to use what I call a 1.5 cup roux. What that means is 1.5 cup of fat or oil and butter and 1.5 cup of flour. So I'm going to get that started here in my little pan. This is the easiest way to make a roux for me. I add 1 cup of vegetable oil. Go ahead and turn the heat on about medium high. That butter I'm going to add, to that oil I'm going to add a stick of butter. So that makes 1.5 cup for the fat part of the roux. I got my butter melted in there. I'm going to add about the same amount of flour as I do oils. We'll stir that around. That's what's going to make the roux. Just want to keep stirring that though to get everything incorporated in there. You make your roux, you just got to constantly be moving or else you'll burn a flour. I like to do once you get it going, I got this little roux stirrer thing I'm putting in there, and he'll stir the roux for me. So that's good. And I'll turn it down to lower heat, move it toward the back burner. We can concentrate on the other stuff. What we'll do now while that roux's being made back there, and that's great having that thing, I'm telling y'all what. I'll put a little bit of oil in the pot right here, on medium-high heat, and I'm going to put my vegetables in there. Alright, to this, I got a cup of celery, half cup bell pepper, cup of green onion, 1.5 cup chopped onions. Also got some green onions I'm putting there in a minute. And go ahead and just let this kind of cook down a little bit though. Just see that some of that brown coming on the bottom of the pot, these vegetables just starting to kind of do some browning. Go ahead with some seasoning. I got a tablespoon of Beazell's. Oh, that's some good stuff, y'all. Give some wonderful flavor. Throw that in there. I've got a quarter cup of dried parsley. Put that in there. It'll be real good too. The aromatics here are just wonderful, y'all. I'm going some fresh cracked black pepper. Oh yeah, good stuff there. Tablespoon of Worcestershire. Where's my Beazells? I think he needs a little bit more Beazells. A little bit more Beazells. About another teaspoon. Because that stuff, you know, it doesn't have a lot of heat in it and doesn't have too much salt, so that's real good. You know, garlic. Got about 2 tablespoons of garlic. I'm join in, just minced garlic. Oh yeah. Beautiful dish here, y'all. Keep scraping that bottom. Now I've got tomato sauce. I've got about 8 ounces of tomato sauce. Pour that in there. With a Creole coming in. And look at that. Go ahead and turn my heat down to low. I want to scorch those tomatoes. We'll just stir this for a minute or two. So at this point I want to add in that sprig, a whole chopped sprig of green onion. Good stuff there. Get that. Getting some flavor to it right now. In just a minute, we're going to add the roux back in. Let's go ahead and we'll add my roux back in. We'll turn it down on low. Oh yeah, this roux been over here cooking for a little bit. Now, you want to stir that roux in. So just like it is still pretty blonde roux, but it's going to be cooking, that's good. We'll go ahead and pour that roux in there, just like that, y'all. Let that roux cook in there with them vegetables. And don't get this on you. I'm telling you, it's like Cajun napalm, just like they say. Go ahead and stir that in. Put this pot aside. Turn this up to about medium-low, a little higher than low, more like medium. And we'll just stir this around for a little bit with this roux. Let this roux cook in these vegetables as well. You see how it is now? It's getting real thick. It's after just stirring about a minute or so. It's like real tightened up here. So now I'm going to take some of that crawfish stock. It's cold. I got it out the refrigerator. We'll add it about a cup or so at a time. We'll just stir it in, y'all. Cups there. Just stir that in. Just blend it on in. That's 2 cups there. All right, we blend that 2 cups in. I'm going to go with 2 more cups. So just go a little bit by a little bit and stir it on in. That's stirred in. I'm going to add about another half cup or another 8 ounces of tomato sauce. It's thick there. Go ahead and add a little bit more of the stock. Put that. And just stir it in a little bit by little bit. At this point now, stirring around, I'm going to add me about a capful of this kitchen bouquet. It's optional. It's like a little bit darker color. It gives it some wonderful color. It really does. Get about a cap and a half full there. Wonderful gumbos and stuff like this. Stir that on in and see how it's getting kind of thick still too. Probably add a little bit more to stock. Real good like that, y'all. And we'll just let it come up to temperature, stirring it slowly. Now we're just noticing this is starting to come to where it's starting to bubble up. That's good. Now what we're going to add, I've got a pound of those crawfish tails from Louisiana Crawfish Company, Cajun certified from Louisiana, 100%. We'll add that to this sauce. Gonna break those up, stir them around a little bit. Then, so get those broken up. I'm gonna come back and I got these heads. Now, one thing I did do, I went ahead and I broke all the whiskers off these heads. That wouldn't be good. I got to think about if they broke off in here, get them caught in your teeth and stuff. So let's go ahead and add these crawfish heads. Wonderful crawfish heads here in the mixture. I'm also going to add some of these balls that we made too. These would be nice in there. Let's soak up some of that goodness. And what we want to do is simmer this basically for 45 minutes, stirring it pretty often because these things will stick down to the bottom. Come down the 5 minutes. I just got the rice finishing over here. And oh man, the bisque is simmering. Look at that gorgeousness. I'm telling y'all what, I'm so glad I'm able to make this dish for y'all tonight. You know, and I really want to thank Louisiana Crawfish Company for helping me out with this. You know, getting these out of season. I mean, getting fresh crawfish meat, right QF, and nice frozen crawfish meat that, you know, crawfish aren't typically in season right now, but they were able to make it happen. They can make it happen for anybody, you know, all around the country. That's really cool. So, I mean, we're not lacking on flavor here at all. I mean, we got some great ingredients going in this bisque. We're just waiting on the rice over here to get ready. We're going to plate up, like I said, the apex of the Cajun cuisine, the crawfish bisque. One of the hardest things to make, the most time consuming. All the rice is done. Now I'm about to serve up my all-time favorite dish in all of Cajun cuisine. I mean, this is just something from my childhood. Just wonderful, wonderful dish here. So what I'm going to do, got a little rice here in this bowl. We'll just serve some of the, this wonderful bisque. Look at that. Just put that bisque all around that rice right there. Just beautiful, beautiful. You can't beat that right there. We'll serve it up just like that. Maybe put a little bit of fresh thyme. I will sprinkle some thyme on top of there like that. A little bit of Beazell's. Y'all, that is a wonderful dish right there. All right, y'all. So let's give this dish a taste here. See how it is. Man, this is so gorgeous, delicious. Oh my goodness, y'all. Just like I remember, nice and creamy. There's crawfish in here. Awesome. Let's try one of the heads here. Oh, the stuff. Look at that stuffing in there. And this is just kind of how you do it. Got to do it with bisque, y'all. Delicious. This is the ultimate Cajun cuisine. I'm telling y'all. I am so glad I got the chance to cook this dish and get to share it with y'all. I mean, like I said, this is one of my all-time favorites. You won't find this in a restaurant, not prepared like this. I mean, you order a crawfish bisque somewhere, you're gonna get like a cream soup. Has a little bit, maybe 2 or 3 tails in there, and that's it. You're not gonna find these stuffed heads with that wonderful stuffing and all that stuff. And like I said, you can make this without using heads. Just use those dumplings. Those are good too, but I mean, you just don't get the effect, y'all. I mean, this is just, oh, it's just glorious. And then again, it's a shout out to Louisiana Crawfish Company. Thank y'all so much for helping me make this happen. Y'all, if you have to order any kind of crawfish products, no matter where you live, I don't know about outside the United States, but I know about inside the United States for sure. I'm going to put a link there. I got all my crawfish products for this today from them, and they're excellent. I told you about earlier about, you know, how you can tell something's been out of date with seafood, that ammonia smell. None of that. I mean, this is perfect stuff. Thank y'all a lot. Anyway, I'm going to get back to eating one of my favorite dishes in the world, y'all. This Crawfish Bisque. I'm so glad I could take y'all along with me to make it today. Thanks again, y'all.